Where were you when your life needed you the most? You might not realize this, but the problem isn't your willpower. Your brain has an internal mechanism, like a fight or flight, or pain versus pleasure switch. This switch works behind the scenes, and many times it sabotages you without you even noticing. But before we go any further, there's something important I need you to know. I'm passionate about studying the human brain, and I've learned that every time you set out to achieve something important, whether it's getting fit, passing that exam, or starting the business of your dreams, you begin full of energy and motivation. But not long after, all that drive turns into exhaustion and frustration. And here's the thing. The problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough. The real issue is how you see yourself. The core mistake is in your identity. You're probably focused on what you need to do. But here's the secret. That's not the right approach. True power doesn't come from what you do. It comes from who you need to become. Think about this. Most people trying to get in shape focus on workouts and diets. But the ones who actually stay in shape think differently. They don't say, "I have to go to the gym," or "I need to eat healthy." They see themselves as healthy people who take care of their bodies. See the difference? This is the first principle, the identity principle. Let me tell you something powerful. Your actions will always align with your identity. Always. This isn't about motivation, willpower, or wanting it badly. It goes much deeper than that. What you do, day after day, is a direct reflection of who you believe you are. And here's the secret. To change your actions, you need to change your identity. It starts with a simple but powerful question. Who do you want to become? Now, imagine that. How do you want to feel? How do you want to live? Close your eyes for a second and picture the person you want to become. How do they act? How do they think? But here's the thing. Don't just focus on the good parts. I want you to look ahead and also see the obstacles. What might get in your way? What could make this hard? Maybe it's that old pattern of procrastination, or that quiet voice of doubt whispering, "This isn't for you." Seeing both sides is essential, because that's how your brain creates a realistic roadmap. Now, listen closely. You don't need to change your entire life at once. That only leads to frustration. The real secret is something I call the minimum viable progress. Tiny steps. Steps so small, they almost feel ridiculous. For example, want to become a reader? Read 1 paragraph a day. Want to get in shape? Go for a short walk. Want to start writing that book? Jot down the main idea in your Notes app. It might seem insignificant, but here's where the magic kicks in. These micro-actions start to reprogram your brain. Slowly, you begin to believe, "I am this person." And that's when the transformation begins. So tell me, who do you want to become? That's the question that can change your life. Step 1. Use the strategic approach in your life. Now that you understand how your identity shapes your behavior, I want to show you something just as powerful. The impact of your environment. Here's the truth. Where you are and what surrounds you can either be your biggest ally or your worst enemy in your transformation. But here's the good news. You can design your environment to work for you, not against you. There's a brilliant concept called temptation bundling. The idea is simple. Take something you need to do and pair it with something you love to do. Let's say you love watching your favorite show. What if you only watched it while walking on the treadmill? Or maybe you love that specific coffee shop in your neighborhood. Make it the only place where you work on that project you've been putting off. Now, here's an important reflection. Your environment might need a complete redesign. You can't expect different results if everything around you is constantly pulling you back into old habits. Want to play guitar more often? Put it right in the middle of the room instead of hiding it in the closet. Want to eat healthier? Keep fresh fruit visible in your kitchen and hide the cookies in the back of the pantry. Here's another powerful truth. Every major action has a 2-minute version. Think of these micro-actions as doorways your future self can walk through. Want to write a book? Start by writing just 2 sentences. Want to meditate? Close your eyes and breathe deeply for 2 minutes. And the most interesting part? Once you start, continuing becomes exponentially easier. This isn't about willpower or motivation. It's about something far more important: making success the path of least resistance. So here's the big lesson. Your environment should make the right thing easy and the wrong thing hard. Small external shifts can trigger massive internal changes. Step 2. Use psychological leverage to your advantage. So, what is psychological leverage? Let me explain. You've probably heard that we're influenced by the world around us. And it's true. But there's something even stronger happening inside your mind. It's the way your brain handles the idea of losing something. It hates to lose. Seriously, it hates losing twice as much as it enjoys winning. And that's a fact. Strange, right? But it's how we're wired. Now, picture this. You make a $100 bet with someone, saying you'll complete a goal, like finishing a project or working out every day. Suddenly, not following through doesn't just mean failing your goal, it means losing your money. And believe me, your brain will do everything it can to avoid that. This is how you flip the game in your favor. You know when you start something, and even if it's small, it keeps bothering you until you finish it. That's because your brain hates leaving things incomplete. There's even a scientific term for this. Ever had a song stuck in your head because you didn't hear the ending? Same principle. Your brain hates loose ends. So here's what I want you to do. 1. Leave tasks incomplete. On purpose. Start something meaningful, then pause right before finishing. It'll be almost impossible to ignore. Your brain will itch to come back and complete it. This is what we call an open loop. And it's a powerful focus tool. 2. Create real commitment. Now, add a layer of pressure. Make it harder to fail than to succeed. How? Try these ideas. Tell someone. Share your goal with a friend, or post it on social media. Once people know, you'll feel an extra layer of accountability. Schedule a deadline. Book something related to your goal. A race, a presentation, a meeting. This forces you to prepare and show up. Invest money. Pay in advance for something that pushes you forward, like a course or gym membership. Once the money's out, your brain won't want it to go to waste. These aren't just tricks. They're strategies that hijack your brain's natural flaws and turn them into your biggest assets for building discipline and focus. Step 3. How to build habits that actually stick now. That you understand how your identity and psychological leverage can fuel your growth, let's talk about something fundamental: habits. Let me show you how to make them last. It may sound complicated, but don't worry, it's actually simpler than you think. You know those habits you already do without even thinking? Like brushing your teeth or having your morning coffee. They're so automatic, they don't even feel like effort anymore. Now here's the trick. You can use those automatic habits as anchors to build new ones. It's called habit stacking, adding a new habit on top of one that's already part of your routine. Here's how to do it. Pick a habit that's already locked into your day, like eating breakfast. Now attach a new habit right after it. For example, if you want to start stretching in the morning, do it immediately after your co. The key is to ride the momentum of what you're already doing, and let that carry the new habit forward. But there's one more piece most people overlook: foundation habits. These are the habits that make every other habit easier. I call them gateway habits. Want some examples? Getting enough sleep. When you sleep well, you wake up with more energy, more focus, and more will to act. Exercising regularly. Movement activates your body and brain, putting you into high gear for the rest of the day. Want to eat better? Here's a tip. Prep your fruit ahead of time and leave it visible in the fridge. Make the right choice the easy one, so you don't have to rely on willpower. And that brings me to a crucial point. Habits should never depend on willpower. Willpower is like your phone battery. It drains throughout the day with every decision you make. That's why the real secret to building habits is not motivation or discipline. It's about making the right thing automatic. So stack your habits. Start with the gateway ones, and make everything as simple and frictionless as possible. When you do that, the new behavior stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like just another part of who you are. Step 4. Unlocking your daily motivation. Now that you've built a solid foundation with strong habits, it's time to understand the force that fuels everything. Motivation. Here's something nobody tells you. Motivation isn't magic. In fact, it has a kind of hidden structure that, once you understand it, changes everything. See, your brain, as brilliant as it is, doesn't really care about the future. It's not excited about distant goals or the big dream you're chasing. What it really wants is a reward right now. Think of motivation like building a bridge. On one side is where you are. On the other side is your goal. And each action you take is like placing one more beam on that bridge. But here's the secret. To keep building that bridge, you need to feel the future in the present. That's where dopamine comes in, the reward chemical. It's not only released when you achieve something, it's also released when you see yourself making progress. That means every small step counts. Track it, celebrate it. Every win, no matter how tiny. Because something incredible happens. Your brain starts to crave progress itself. Here's a powerful practical exercise. Write a letter to yourself, from your future self. Imagine you've already achieved what you're working toward. Now write to your present self and say thank you for the effort you're putting in today. This isn't just a visualization exercise, it's a tool to reprogram your brain's reward system. When you create an emotional connection to your future self, motivation stops being a struggle and starts flowing naturally. Remember, progress is the key. Don't focus only on the final goal. Celebrate each step, because that's what keeps you moving. Step 5. Boosting your productivity. Now that your motivation is aligned, it's time to channel that energy into real productivity, using your brain in the smartest way possible. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you get so focused on something that time just disappears? You feel immersed, completely locked in, and hours pass like minutes. That's not a coincidence. That's your brain operating at its peak performance. And that's what I call deep work. Deep work doesn't mean working harder or longer. It's not about grinding yourself into exhaustion. It's about working smarter, in a state of full focus, where your brain becomes a kind of mental superpower. Here's something few people realize. Your brain takes about 23 minutes to reach full focus, which means every time you get distracted, you lose that ramp-up time and have to start all over again. That changes everything. So how do you use this to your advantage? The answer: batch your tasks. Group similar tasks together. Answer all your emails at once. Make all your calls in one sitting. If you're doing creative work, block time to dive in without interruption. It's way more efficient than jumping from one thing to another all day. There's another trick few people know. Your brain has a decision quota, a limited amount of mental energy for making choices each day. Every small decision, what to wear, what to eat, what to do next, drains that reserve. That's why highly productive people simplify their routines. They don't waste energy deciding what to do every moment. They automate as much as possible. Because real productivity isn't about cramming more into your day. It's about doing the right things, with clarity and focus, knowing your time is being used intentionally. So here's your next step. Group your tasks. Cut down unnecessary decisions. Give your brain the mental space it needs to operate like a true superpower. Step 6. Cognitive tools to free your mind. Your mind is incredible, but it has its limits. It's constantly juggling everything: tasks, ideas, worries, decisions. It's like having 50 browser tabs open in your head at the same time. Exhausting, right? Now here's a simple, life-changing solution. Create a second brain. What's that? It's an external system that holds everything you need to remember. Your tasks, ideas, reminders, so your brain can stop carrying all that weight. Because when you write things down, your brain stops wasting energy trying to hold on to them. It's like setting down a bunch of heavy boxes you didn't even realize you were carrying. And suddenly, your mind feels lighter, faster, free to focus on what actually matters. Here's a practice that can truly change your life. I call it the clarity pause. Take just a few minutes a day to empty your mind onto paper. Grab a notebook or open a notes app and write down everything circling in your head. Tasks, worries, random thoughts. Get it all out. As soon as you do that, you'll feel the noise begin to fade. Your mind understands that everything's safely stored, and it finally relaxes. And once that mental space is clear, something amazing happens. You rediscover your own capacity for change. Here's one last reminder. Every person has the potential to transform their life in ways they never imagined. It doesn't matter where you are right now or how messy your thoughts feel. You can create space for something new, for something greater. True transformation doesn't come all at once, and it doesn't depend on huge, dramatic changes. It starts with small, conscious steps, and the decision to become the person you were always meant to be. Remember, everything you need is already inside you. Shift your identity, shape your environment, build habits that carry you, and celebrate every little win along the way. Because in the end, it's not just about what you want to achieve, it's about who you're becoming in the process.